What's going on YouTube? Thomas L here with another top 10 video. And there's, tomorrow I should say, is the new film Operation Finale, which is of course set in World War II. And it also stars the likes of Oscar Isaac and Sir Ben Kingsley. Now of course there's tons of World War II. So I decided to do my top 10 favorite World War II movies. Starting off at is pretty much a recent one, and that will be Dunkirk. This is a really good and intense film. I mean, it's not really my favorite Christopher Nolan film per se, but I found it pretty interesting, and maybe wanted to look into more of the Battle of Dunkirk. And I mean, the men that the story was told by, I mean, they were really brave. This is definitely, if you haven't seen Dunkirk, give it a go. I mean, it got nominated for Best Picture and at the Oscars, and well deserved. And I think it won a few awards too. I think maybe for the sound stuff it won. Definitely well deserved because the sounding was really good for this movie, and also the visuals in this was pretty stunning. It also had good performances by Tom Hardy. Cillian Murphy gave one of his best performances in years. Mark Rylance was good in this movie. Good casting. Yeah, Dunkirk is a really good flick to watch. It. Definitely give it a go. At number 6 is Captain America, the First Avenger. Now, I was going to choose between either this or maybe Wonder Woman, but I kind of decided to go with Captain America, the First Avenger. Pretty much he's kind of, if you look at it, Captain America is pretty much Marvel's Wonder Woman, if you look at it. I mean, like Wonder Woman, they're both they're both from World War II, so, and I mean, pretty much he becomes Captain America during World War II, so you can't go wrong with that. The First Avenger is really darn good. I mean, you had director Joe Johnson directing. Chris Evans is an amazing Captain America, and he's been doing good as a role ever since. I mean, he's amazing in Infinity War and all the other Marvel films that came after the First Avengers. He's been nailing it as a role. Captain America, the First Avengers really rocks. I saw the movie like twice in theaters when it got released, and it's a fun drill ride. I mean, Tommy Lee Jones is like the sergeant in this was awesome. I mean, Tommy Lee Jones is always awesome, but anyway, good casting in this. I mean, Haley Atwell, you had the list goes on with the casting of this, and the World War II battle scenes was cool. Definitely, Captain America: The First Avenger is an awesome World War II movie. At number 8 is the 1907 epic The Bridge on the River Kwai. This is a classic war movie. I mean, it's about like a British colonel who cooperates to oversee his men's construction on a railway bridge for their captures, while obviously to planned by the Allies to destroy it. It's a classic. I haven't seen this movie for like a long time. That's why I was reading off the synopsis. But yeah, I mean, I've seen it a couple of times, but it never really like stuck with me. But you know what? It's an all time classic. I think it won a few Oscars if I'm not mistaken. I'll probably double check that, but I mean, the cast in this was pretty good. I mean, you had William Holden, Alex Guinness, years before he was Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, the movie came out in 1957, and lots of critics actually have this movie in their top probably top 10 or top 5 best movies of all time. I don't really have it in any of those lists, but it's definitely as a World War II movie, I love it. Like, it's not really gonna be my top 20 favorite movies of all time, but my top 10 favorite World War II movies definitely will be on that list. At number 7 will of course be another classic, and that will be Casablanca. Of course, this movie I believe came out like in the 40s, like the year where World War II pretty much began. And of course, it starred Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman. Like, Humphrey Bogart played like a nightclub owner who protects an old flame and her husband from Nazis in Monaco. It's a classic. I mean, it's such a beautiful movie. You know, it's of course shot in black and white. It came out in the 40s, so pretty much lots of movies were shot in black and white in the 40s, you know. But Humphrey Bogart was amazing. Like, of course, he was at the hype of his career, you know. Humphrey Bogart was like big in the 40s and 30s and 50s and all. He was kind of like the Ryan Gosling of that era, I think. I don't really know much about the 40s, you know, who the Ryan Gosling of that era was, but whatever. And I mean, this movie like has war, it has like romance. Such a classic movie. Like, if you haven't seen Casablanca by now, it's very, very old. But you know what? Give it a go. If you're definitely into like romance movies and even World War II epics, you'll probably appreciate Casablanca. At number 6 is Quentin Tarantino's film Inglourious Basterds, which is pretty much like a comedy satire of World War II. I mean, Brad Pitt was really good in this. You also got Eli Roth. You know, Mike Myers even had a role in this. I always keep forgetting Mike Myers is in this movie. Also, the gorgeous Diane Kruger's in this. The gorgeous Melanie Laurent. The cast, of course, is Quentin Tarantino, so he's always gonna put together an ensemble of a cast. I mean, look at the cast list for his movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I mean, the guy knows how to cast his movies. Well, I don't know if he does the casting or not, but anyway, this movie was freaking bloody. Like, I mean, when you talk about bloody, I mean, this movie was bloody. Like, it was so violent. Of course, it's Quentin Tarantino, so his movies are usually always violent. This movie also had like lots of comedy in it. Because who knew that, you know, you could have comedy in World War II? Definitely check out Inglourious Basterds. It's awesome. I just rewatched it again yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the other day on Showtime. It's fun to watch once in a while, you know. And it turns 10. Yeah, it turns 10 years old next year. My God, I'm getting old. Anyway, yeah, I can't say much. Check out Inglourious Basterds. You'll probably appreciate it. And I mean, they even have like real quick. They even have Hitler in this. I mean, who knew that Hitler could pretty much be, you know, funny, you know? I mean, that line, of course, the line is the 999 line. I mean, they pretty much made fun of Hitler in this as well. And oh, the guy who played Hitler in this was really good. I can't remember the guy's name off my top of my head, but yeah, he totally looked like Hitler. Anyway, at number 5 will be another classic, and that will be the 1967 movie The Dirty Dozen, which of course is about a rebellious U.S. Army major who is assigned a dozen convicted murderers to train and lead them into a mass assassination mission of German officers. I mean, this movie was like directed by Robert Eldridge, and you had an ensemble cast for this movie. I mean, you had the likes of Charles Bronson, Ernest Borgnine, Lee Marvin, Jim Brown, John Cassavetes, George Kennedy, Donald Sutherland. The list goes on. It's a really good film. I mean, the movie came out like in 1967. I don't know if it holds up as well as it does today, but it's a classic. It's pretty intense at times, but it's still really good. Yeah, check out Dirty Dozen if you haven't. It's a really fun watch. At number At number 4 is the 1970 movie The Patent. Yeah, I got lots of classic movies on this list. I'm 26, and once in a while, I'll still watch, very old movies now. I mean, the film was, of course, led by George C. Scott. You had Carl Malden in this. Such a good movie. Like this is a World War II phase of the career of the controversial American General George S. Patton. Of course, you're gonna have another guy named George as the role, but George C. Scott gave one of his best performances in this. I think he probably got nominated for an Oscar if I'm not mistaken. I got to check that, but yeah, Patton is a good movie. I haven't seen. To be honest, I haven't seen a whole lot of these movies for a while, but they're still classics, and Patton is a really good World War II film. It's such a classic. Check out Patton. It's really good. At number 3 is the 1963 epic The Great Escape. Which is, of course, about Allied prisoners of war who plan on several hundred of their numbers to escape a German camp during World War II. I added this in my top 10 favorite prison movies as well. This here, it was kind of like the Expendables of that era. You had loads of actors in this. I mean, you got the likes of Steve McQueen, James Garner, Richard Attenborough, Charles Bronson, Donald Pleasant, way before Halloween, by the way. This is also a classic. I mean, it's a cool escape film. It's like I said, the ensemble is fantastic. Of course, Steve McQueen was at the hype of his career. He was big in the '60s. Definitely, Great Escape is a good movie. Check it out. It's really fantastic. At number 2, this is my second time of the day talking about this movie because I did my top 10 favorite Sir Ben Kingsley movies, and this was on that list. So number 2 will of course be Schindler's List. Steven Spielberg's classic film about the Holocaust. You had the aforementioned Sir Ben Kingsley. Liam Neeson was Oscar Schindler. You also had Ray Fiennes. Of course, this movie won the Oscar for Best Picture, and I guess it's well deserving. It's a fantastic movie. Spielberg did such a good job at telling the story. It was also all in black and white. I mean, it's a really hard movie to watch too. If you go ahead and watch it just to warn you, it's hard to watch. Also, I mean it's pretty much a '90s classic now. It'll be remembered from Time Out. But yeah, Schindler's List is amazing. If you still haven't seen Schindler's List by now, give it a go. It's good. And at number one is pretty much another Spielberg movie, and that will be 1998's Oscar. Should have been Oscar-winning film Saving Private Ryan. Almost scored an Oscar-winning film. It wasn't because Shakespeare in Love won the Oscar, which I still don't like. I mean, I like the movie's okay, but Saving Private Ryan was better. I mean, it's pretty much about like soldiers who are trying to receive Matt Damon, who of course plays the Tyrell. This is a classic Spielberg epic. I mean, Spielberg's really good when it comes to World War II films. You know, he did pretty good with Bridge of Spies. You know, he's pretty good with war, like, period. I mean, Lincoln, of course, he did. War Horse. You know, when the guy doesn't do sci-fi movies or big blockbusters or whatever, he knows how to tell a good World War II story. And of course, he picked a good cast for this movie. I mean, you had the likes of Tom Hanks, Vin Diesel before Fast and Furious. You also had the likes of Ed Byrne, Tom Sizemore. You had Barry Pepper, Giovanni Ribisi, Ted Danson, Paul Giamatti. This list goes on and on. I mean, it's a fantastic cast. Maybe one of the best casts I've seen in a World War II movie. This movie is also really darn hard to watch. Like, people get shot, like literally, shot up. I mean, it's a bloody flick, and it definitely Saving Private Ryan's amazing. I mean, I rewatched it, recently. I think around Memorial Day. I think it was Memorial Day is when I last rewatched it, and it's the whole stuff from time to time. I mean, it's fun to watch. I mean, it is like I said, it is a hard flick to watch, and yeah, it's just amazing. Spielberg did amazing with that movie, and I still wish it won the Oscar, but not every movie could win an Oscar for Best Picture, but whatever. Anyway, that's pretty much my top 10 favorite World War II movies. Let me run down the list. Number 10, Dunkirk. Number 9, Captain America the First Avenger. Number 8, The Bridge of the River Kwai. Number 7, Casablanca. Number 6, Inglourious Basterds. Number 5, The Dirty Dozen. Number 4, Patton. Number 3, The Great Escape. Number 2, Schindler's List. And number 1, Saving Private Ryan. I could have gone with lots of other films. I could have gone with Wonder Woman. Hacksaw Ridge, Mel Gibson's epic film. I could have also gone with. The list goes on. I mean, there's tons of good World War II movies out there. But anyway, let me give it to you guys. What are your favorite World War II movies? Leave a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is Thomas L. signing off.